If you want to be a part of the conversation before it happens here on YouTube, click that link in the description to join the free Courtside Financial Discord. What's going on, everyone? My name's Obi and welcome back to Courtside Financial. Today we're going to be reacting to this video that dropped yesterday where NIO CFO actually did an interview with Bloomberg. So before we get into the video, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you hit the subscribe button, and leave a comment down below. Liking and subscribing really does go a long way in helping out the channel.
There's so much talk about EVs in China. You have some pretty ambitious plans, doubling your annual deliveries to 250,000 units. You want to break even for most of your businesses this year, and you want to reach group profitability next year. How does NIO achieve those goals?
I think let me start with the sales volume. We are very confident to achieve our sales target in 2023 by focusing on three key actions. First, broaden the product portfolio. We are going to launch 5 new models based on our NIO Technology Platform 2.0 in the middle of this year. After transitioning all the models to NT2 platform, we'll be able to offer 8 models, complementary and competitive in diversified market segments.
So a lot of these blogs are talking about NIO being stuck in luxury, being stuck as a luxury brand. And so when you think about the Alps brand, the sub-brand that NIO is creating, that's supposed to help them get into a broader market, help them not only capture the consumer who's interested in luxury and is less price sensitive, but also capture the everyday consumer and really be able to take more market share out of the EV industry's pie. So I think that's what he was getting at when he was talking about eventually having even more new models, getting into more diversified markets. And then also when you think about battery as a service, that's something that's also helping them out as well. Being able to purchase the car but rent the battery. And before all the haters get in the comment sections and say, this is just stupid, it's not going to catch on, it's not going to work. Well, do your research. The vast majority of Norwegian customers are actually choosing to rent the battery and purchase the car. They're choosing battery as a service, and obviously there's way more people in China choosing it, but the fact that the vast majority of Norwegian customers in a market that's not NIO's hometown are choosing this method of procuring their vehicles is speaks volumes to it.
Second, expand the charging and swapping network. We plan to deploy additional 1,000 power stations in China along the highways and in sub-tier cities with high potential. By doing this, we are able to access more markets and offer better recharging experience for existing users.
So another part of the game plan in order to reach their sales targets is really to just expand on the infrastructure. He mentions that they plan on deploying, 1,000 additional swap stations in China. And I'm actually going to tell a story from earlier today, actually, when I was at lunch. So I went to lunch with a Tesla owner and I went to lunch with a ICE vehicle owner. I believe he had a Suburban, some type of truck, but for the purpose of the story, we'll just call it Tesla Suburban. And so somehow we got into this rabbit hole of a conversation about electric vehicles, and the Tesla owner really loves his Tesla. He spoke very highly of it. He didn't feel like there was any inconvenience to his work, his life, or whatever. And so I agreed with him. And I thought that was really cool and that we had that conversation. And so the person who owns the truck or the Suburban actually thinks that it's way too early for electric vehicles. His point that he made is, well, let me kind of set the stage before I get into the point that he made. I live in Arizona and let's just say Phoenix. So his point that he made is that I want to be able to go from Phoenix to Las Vegas, Nevada without having to stop. And so I was like, it's actually not that big of a problem. Tesla's made the investment into their infrastructure, into their supercharger network. And so they have the biggest supercharger network in the US, and that's what drives a lot of people to purchase Teslas. And to bounce off of that point, the Tesla owner mentioned that his Tesla has 350 miles of range. He has a long range Tesla Model Y. And so with that Model Y, with the distance from Phoenix, Arizona to Las Vegas being 297 miles, he can make it there, park his car, charge up, and be 100% full without even having to stop at a supercharger. You can just stop at a destination charger. Let's say he's going to a hotel or something. And he's like, all right, what if you're leaving and your car is not full? Well, this goes back to my point where I mentioned Tesla has put the effort into building out the infrastructure, building out their supercharger network across America. And so he can stop at a supercharger, and within 15 minutes, he can get 200 miles of range. And so that kind of thinking is not really a problem for a Tesla owner at all. So going back to NIO, this stresses the importance of the infrastructure. There's so many people in the US specifically. Now, listen, when I say in the US specifically, because I don't want this to get misconstrued, who won't buy any other car than a Tesla at this moment in time, because Tesla has the infrastructure. They have the supercharger network. They are relaxing those pain points of range anxiety for their customers. And so with NIO, building out the infrastructure is also going to reduce pain points for their customer and make their car more appealing to more people, versus all these other car companies who don't have the same infrastructure that NIO has. The economics of charging infrastructure is pretty appealing as well. It's pretty lucrative.
Third, unlock the value of AD technologies. You know, every NIO, we plan to roll out more advanced features based on our in-house full-stack AD technologies, which come standard on every new NT2 vehicles. We believe a better AD experience will help our users to enjoy a better driving experience. Then we come to so in short, for the sales volume, the key for sales volume growth is competitive products with experience beyond expectation.
They're also focusing heavily on autonomous driving. A lot of R&D dollars are going into that. Billions of R&D dollars are going into that. They're developing full stack in-house AD, and they want to make it a standard on every vehicle that's going to be released on the NT 2.0 platform. So that is another compelling reason to choose a NIO vehicle, which in turn will help them boost sales and reach their target.
And then we move on to the profitability. Very simple things, two things. First, focus on efficiency.
Okay.
All teams need to work very closely to launch the 5 new models. Second, fine-tune the pace. The match team monitors the market dynamics very closely and make lesser changes in an agile way based on our strategic prioritization. So in short, strong revenue growth together with tightened spending are the key for the improvement of our profitability.
Well, that's a basic equation, sales, costs.
Yeah.
By the way, the market's looking at you that you're on set, and we're up 6.7%. So they're happy with what they see.
They're listening.
Now, here's the next question. They might be happy depending on what your answer is. Are you going to be profitable by next year?
Yes.
Okay.
I think we are confident for the group level to break even next year.
Okay. Okay. Now, what are your plans as far as you talked about volumes?
Yeah.
What are your plans on pricing? Because there's this somewhat of a price war going on in some segments, of course, of the EV market in China. What are your plans around pricing your models?
I think the short answer is that NIO always try to maintain a very stable price system. Okay. I would say actually in the last year and this year, China auto market is going through a very profound reshuffle thanks to the increasing EV penetration. So in the end, price war will lead to industry consolidation. But for NIO, I think we would like to differentiate ourselves by competitive products, innovative technologies, comprehensive power infrastructure, and a vibrant user community.
So are you planning more cuts, or you want to keep things stable, as you said?
I would say for existing models, we will keep the price very stable. And for new models, we need to follow the market very closely.
Okay, so they even talk about the price war here, which is pretty interesting. My take on the price war is that price wars can be really debilitating to smaller players. Some of these companies cannot afford to cut costs. Partaking in a price war is really going to affect margins, and a lot of companies, when they do price wars, don't realize that prices can get really sticky when you slash them. So it's not just like price wars are meant to be temporary, but it's not just like we slash prices, we gain more market share, then we raise prices again. It hardly ever works out like that, judging from numerous case studies. Anyways, the point that I'm trying to make is that reducing price is not always a reversible action. And so this can lead companies into bankruptcy or consolidation, as he mentioned. So with him saying that NIO's models are, the pricing of their existing models that are already rolled out is going to be pretty stable, that makes sense for me, because with price wars, your only focus point is the price. NIO is clearly a company that's focused on innovation. The dollars speak for themselves. The proof is in the pudding. They're putting billions and billions of dollars into R&D. And then aside from that, they are a premium company. And so if you liken that to a traditional legacy automaker, Mercedes-Benz, how often do you see a Mercedes-Benz go on sale? Not too often. And that's because the people who are, or the consumers that are purchasing this product are not as sensitive to price. So for a luxury brand like NIO, which they are, I agree with the CFO's strategy and what he said here today. They simply just cater to a different market. Existing pricing on existing models are going to be stable, but he also said that the newer models are going to follow the market very closely. Now, this brings me back to the Alps brand. Again, a lot of NIO's success, in my opinion, will be riding on the Alps brand, which is their foray into the broader market. Alps, from my perspective, isn't intended to be a luxury brand. So I imagine there will be more competitive pricing with that. And so in my opinion, if Alps was released at the time of the price wars, which we're seeing right now, I would expect them to start cutting prices there along with the rest of the competition.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about battery prices, which
Yes,
NIO, among everyone globally, has been suffering from. We saw lithium carbonate sliding now.
Yeah.
How does that affect your business strategies?
The short answer is the lithium price decline will contribute to my margin growth. Lithium price has risen sharply in the past year and peaked in Q4 2022, which has adversely impacted the whole EV industry. And recently, as you have just said, the lithium price has started to decline gradually, and we expect the lithium price continue to drop to a reasonable. And in the long run, with more steady supply growth, we believe the lithium price will continue to drop to a reasonable level, and this is good for the whole EV industry, especially for premium BEV, typically with a higher capacity battery packs.
And this is true as well. While these battery suppliers are squeezing in the short term, if you zoom out, the cost of lithium is going down over time. The battery makes up 40% of the cost of the car. So EVs are just going to continue to gain more and more market share, in my opinion, over time. The range is getting better. The battery technology is getting better. The cost is going down. In my opinion, from my perspective, why wouldn't it work? Anyways, so some really good insight. It's always good to hear from the company themselves. It's good to see them on these type of interviews. He said that they are going to reach their strategic sales goal this year by really doing three things. Number one, broadening the product portfolio. Number two, more infrastructure. And number three, having a focus on full stack autonomous driving. So that's going to be it for this video. I want to know what you guys think. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Leave me a comment down below, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Again, thanks for watching.